Hi everyone, I'm Kylie and welcome back. Okay, so I just filmed. That's why this looks all empty. And I put the kimchi away, but I realized I forgot to turn my mic on. So everything I said during that is gone. But I'm gonna go ahead and pick at this and retell the story I told. Okay, so this was when I was a flight attendant, and I specifically remember it was an overnight to a city called Bangor in Maine. And if some of you are unfamiliar, flight attendants and pilots, they call them flight crew. During this particular time and for this particular airline, they had us traveling together for 3 or 4 days. So it would be called a trip. In Bangor, Maine, they had us staying in a hotel that was connected to a casino, so a hotel casino. Well, I think this was our first overnight together. I had never worked with this crew before. And I would say the captain was about my dad's age, which was in his late 50s. And the first officer, which was the co-pilot, he was like in his late 40s, I would say. And the flight attendant and I were pretty young. Well, we work a trip, like maybe 4 or 5 legs that day, and then we end up in Bangor, Maine. The pilots tell us they want to buy us dinner and drinks, so we come down to the lobby where the casino is at, and we're all eating, drinking, having a good time. And I don't think we gambled, but might have just been like a little bit, maybe just some of the slots. So the night's kind of wrapping up, and we all get back into the elevator to get back to our rooms. And the company pays for our hotel room, and we each get our own. So we're riding the elevator, and the other flight attendant and the first officer get off on their floors before mine because they were below me. Well, the captain was on the floor above me, and so it was just me and the captain left on the elevator. And he was kind of acting weird. I wouldn't call it creepy yet, but he was just being strange and like trying to be flirty, but I just figured he was drunk, so I was just gonna get to my room and be relieved of his company. So I get to my floor and I say goodnight. And typically when I get to my room, I just like to shower right away and just wind down and get ready for bed and just lay in bed. But since I had a couple of drinks, I wasn't drunk, but I was a little bit tipsy. And so I just laid down just to make the room calm down, you know. And at this point, it's like past midnight. It's probably like 1 o'clock in the morning, and my phone starts ringing. Not my phone, not my cell phone, the room phone. And I pick up because I thought it was like the front desk, because like, who's calling my room at 1 o'clock in the morning? I pick up the phone and literally it's a man's voice, and he says, he doesn't even say hello. He just says, "Kylie, are you coming up or am I coming down?" I was in shock. It was totally unexpected. And I didn't even take a breath to respond. And I immediately said, "Ew, neither," and hung up on him. I mean, obviously it was the captain. I recognized his voice. But I hung up on him and I was so confused. I was like, ew, we just had spent the night like talking about, they were talking about their families, their wives. Like, he told me he had a daughter my age. I mean, to hear him say that over the phone to my room just absolutely disgusted me. Like, how can you sit there all night bragging about your family and how much you love your wife, and then when we get back to our rooms, you ask me if I'm coming up to your room or if you're coming down to mine? Wow. So I still lay there. It's maybe been like 5 minutes that passed, and I'm trying to work up the courage to get up and go take a shower. Well, I'm still in bed, but I sit up and all of a sudden I hear a knock on my door. And for some reason, I just knew it was him. Because who else would it be, right? So I literally just sit there in silence. Didn't get up, didn't say anything. And he keeps knocking. And he won't go away for like 10 or 15 minutes. And it's kind of starting to scare me. Even though the door was locked and all that. It's just, at that point, I was so naive about the professional world that I didn't even think that this was possible. He eventually goes away and I take a shower, and once I get out of the shower, the phone rings again. And I just don't even bother answering it. At this point, I'm like, if it's that much of an emergency, then you can call my cell phone. And if you don't have my number, then you probably shouldn't be calling me. So I take the phone off the hook, and the next morning we have to ride the same shuttle back to the airport, and I can just tell he's giving me the cold shoulder. Like, he's butthurt that I turned him down. So up to this point, he's been pretty low maintenance, like not really needing anything. And I've been working in the front area, like the front galley. And he's so bitter about it that I can just tell he's pissed off at me. So he's just giving me the cold shoulder, and then when I ask him if he needs anything, he makes me make him like 3 different drinks, which is totally unnecessary, and I just knew he was mad. And it sucked because we had to work like 2 or 3 more days together, and it was just so incredibly awkward. I mean, I obviously told the other flight attendant to like watch out for him because that's what he did to me. And she thought he was like really creepy too. She was like, I got really creepy vibes from him. So it wasn't just me. And then when we got back to our base, I set up a meeting with the chief flight attendant and the chief pilot. And this is like, by the way, like at my discretion. So like that pilot that I flew with, the captain, he doesn't know that I'm having a meeting with my chief flight attendant and his chief pilot. But with authorization, I was able to put him on my no-fly list, and I like never had to fly with him ever again. Because I just felt like at some point my safety was being compromised, and I didn't know if I could fully trust him flying the plane that I was on and working. And I just didn't want it to be uncomfortable for any other trips I had to do. Later on, I found out that he had a bad reputation for hitting on flight attendants and trying to get with them. And he had some infamous like saying where he would say, like, out of 10 flight attendants that you ask, yeah, 9 of them may say no, but 1 is bound to say yes. Vomit. That is like absolutely disgusting to me. And I can't believe that like any sense of me being naive was just out the window on that trip. I mean, it's just so disrespectful. Like, how would he feel if someone did that to his daughter, you know? Like, he didn't even think about like me having a dad that would like kick his ass, you know? Like, I would be like so pissed at him for that. Like, who are you? Like, you supposedly have a daughter my age, but you can go after somebody like your daughter's age? Like, I can't even believe that. That's disgusting to me. And I'm sure his family has no idea that he's like that. I mean, other than that, before he was mad at me, he seemed like a really normal, down-to-earth, good family man. I guess you just never know. I mean, in that job, there's just too much opportunity. So I would say out of all the pilots that I've ever flown with, I can probably name 5 that are good husbands, good fathers, good members of the community. Other than that, the rest of them, not to like call them out, but the rest of the ones that I knew that I flew with throughout the couple years that I was a flight attendant, questionable characters. I'll just leave it at that. well, I'm super full, and I hope you enjoyed my story today, the second time around now that the mic's on. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up. I'd really appreciate it. And if you want to see the next video, go ahead and click that subscribe button. I hope everybody's staying safe and healthy. And until then, I'll see you later. Mwah.